All right, I think we're good to go. I mean, we can get started a minute early. Just final thing I need to do. All right, so this time it wasn't my fault. Like seriously, totally, it was not my fault. Literally everything was against me today. All my OBS settings reset again 5 minutes before I actually went live. So I think I'm gonna switch over to Streamlabs. This settings reset has happened way too often, and it's become too much of a pain to actually deal with. So I'm going to switch over to Streamlabs for the next stream. I don't really like Streamlabs because I don't agree with what they do, but OBS is just not very good. I know, I'm going through them at the moment. Gorsty, thank you very much for that 7 months membership. Late. Devin Brooking, $2 super chat, late. You know what? Maybe I should just be a little bit later. Maybe more will come in. Right, so how's everyone doing? How are we all doing? How is everyone today? Banisher, will Arsenal win today? As long as Man United win, that's all that matters. I'm good. A bit of a long day, but I am good. If I was any later, it'd be Thursday. Come on, I wasn't that late. Munching on pizza? I can't have any pizza. Actually, I can't have anything at the moment. My dinner tonight was chicken salad. Well, chicken Caesar salad. Light on the dressing as well. No, I need to watch what I'm eating now for at least about 3-4 weeks. See, Devin? Karma. It's wonderful. That's what karma is all about, buddy. I mean, Liverpool have already won the Premier League, right? Ryan Reynolds is happy with Wrexham. Now they're in the Championship. One more season for them and they'll have achieved the impossible. They'll be in the Premier League. So what's this rumor I'm hearing Devin plugged his PlayStation 5 Pro into an 8K TV to play Horizon Forbidden West of all games? Once a pony, always a pony, man. What can I say? I actually forgot Towerborn released today. I'm currently too busy playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 and Wuthering Waves. once I get past those, then I still need to finish the Vowed. Lots to get through. I mean, that will be the first time, right, Ghosty? I'm going to give Oblivion a little bit. There's too many bugs in that game right now. I'm going to revisit that once they decide that the game isn't going to uninstall itself. I still can't believe that's a thing! The game uninstalled itself. Seriously. I mean, come on. Game was like, nope, that's it. I've had enough. I'm taking a break. I'm just gonna uninstall. Oh god. I keep talking about that one with my friends at work today, and yeah, it always gave me a giggle. That's the stadium where it gets into the away end by climbing through people's back gardens. Yeah. It's been an interesting week, right, folks? Sony finally have their state of play. It's finally happening, and it's tomorrow. So normally on Wednesdays I'm streaming over at Twitch. Now, I'm not... This would be 10 o'clock our time, right? So I'm probably potentially going to check this out over there if anyone is interested in stopping by before I continue my normal Woo stream. But if you're interested, feel free to stop by there. But it does look like they're having a Borderlands 4 state of play. Apparently a bunch of people are saying they're not even going to bother turning up because they cannot be bothered to watch Borderlands. It's 20 minutes of new weapons, abilities, missions, and more on April 30th. I mean, they give you all these times. Why can't they just give you a GMT time too? Would it kill them? Hey, Big B Money. I saw a weird video from some random YouTube channel about Xbox. Called and posted it in... I'll check it up. But yeah, I hear a lot of people are out for this. I'm not even sure I'm interested in it. I've never been a Borderlands fan. Like, it's just been one of those games that has really just never appealed to me. I don't know why. I don't know what. It just never has. It's just Borderlands 4. I wouldn't even call it a showcase. At this point, you know, Sony's just trying to money hat YouTube stuff now. As you may have heard with the weird one with Doom, where they money hatted a Doom trailer. Which is even weirder because Microsoft is basically giving them exclusive video coverage. It's weird. Like, that one broke my brain a little bit. So Sony went to Microsoft and said, "Hey Microsoft, I want to money hat a trailer off you so it doesn't appear on your YouTube channel." And for all these years that Microsoft has been saying that Sony has been, you know, making these deals, then they turned around and said, "Okay, we will give you exclusive rights to this trailer so it doesn't appear on Xbox's YouTube channel." I'm like, does anyone else's brain hurt with that one? It's like, what's even happening? I don't with Borderlands 4. I don't think it has anything to fear with Marathon. The biggest complaint I've heard from Marathon right now is that Marathon doesn't know what it wants to be. From people I know that have played it and have spent extensive time with it, Marathon is trying to be a bit of everything, and it's not excelling at anything. It's not doing the extraction any better than anyone else. It's not doing the PvP better than anyone else. It's kind of trying to be the jack of all trades and appeal to everyone. In a game like that, you kind of just need to pick a lane and go with it. And they're not doing that. They're trying to appease everyone, and they're going to appease no one. Yeah, it was the Cosmic Realms trailer. Hey, Paul. I know Diablo, but it still breaks my brain that Sony would go out their way. It's like a drug for them at this point. They just have to money hat everything. But the fact that they actually managed to money hat a trailer from Microsoft so it doesn't appear on their YouTube channel, that's crazy. It's not on the Xbox channel. That was like, right, Bags? But no, GTA I think is going to get delayed till next year. I think that's why a lot of these companies are starting to relax and release, start announcing their release dates and potential release windows. It would be the biggest Uno reverse though if GTA turned around and said, yeah, we're still releasing it in November or December. I think at that point everyone is just gonna say, everyone except Call of Duty anyway is just gonna say, okay, fair enough, 2026 it is. Oh man, that Game Pass stuff. We're gonna get into that in a bit because that's just dumb. That's just dumb. But yeah, state of the play. I mean, Borderlands 4, is anyone really excited for that? Like, genuinely? Like, I've got no interest in it at all. I mean, it's not that I didn't like them, I just couldn't get into them. There was something about them just wasn't me, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to really say it. Honestly, I've not played... Dude, the last GTA I played that I thoroughly enjoyed was GTA 1 and 2. 3 was okay. 4 I never bothered with. 5 I played maybe half an hour at my brother's and I gave up because I just wasn't interested. I watched him play instead for a little bit. My brother loves it. He's GTA all the way. I just wasn't interested, so I'm probably gonna check it out. But I don't know if... I don't have the hype that everyone else does. I just don't have the hype that everyone else does for GTA 6. You know? Like, if a good RPG released in that window, I'd be more inclined to play the RPG than I would be to play GTA 6. If a Halo dropped, I'd be more inclined to play Halo. I've got, I mean, nothing against people that love it. Like I said, my brother, who is as pony as they come, like literally, dude is literally as pony as they come. He loves GTA. And he's buying it day one. As long as it's not $100. He said he draws the line at $100. Even $70 to him is too much, but he's willing to do it this time. Hey Paul, those are the ones I enjoyed. GTA, GTA London, and GTA 2. Those are the ones I actually enjoyed. I think Red Dead Redemption is a far superior game, yeah. I agree with that, gaming. I agree. But I will say this, like, the only thing that Marathon has got going for it is the fact that it's trying to target such a niche sector of the gaming industry that no matter what game comes out around it shouldn't really impact it. The only thing that will impact it, which I agree with Paris on this one, is the price point. It seems they didn't learn anything from Concord. You'd think that they would have learned something from Concord. That if you try to go into a market that's saturated, it's going to cause you problems if you start charging money. Considering it looks like Apex and looks like it plays like Apex, like if you guys remember, I got my son to come round and have a look at Marathon in one of the previous streams because he actually plays those games a lot. You know, the Apex Legends, the Marvel Rivals, they're not extraction shooters, but similar style of games with the whole PvP style of thing. And the moment I told him it was £40, he said no, instantly. There's no reason for him to play that over the other free options that are out there with his friends. Because it's not just him having to pay for it, all of them have to buy it. And so why would they do that when they can just play a free game? Or spend even less and go play something like Repo or Lethal Company, which is like less than a fraction of the price. You know? Damn, Woodpit. Call of Juarez. That was on the 360, right? That's old school, man. That was 360, right? Exactly. So, hey, Yatazak, how's it going, buddy? That's the thing. The market is going to be flooded. More and more games are coming. And, you know, it's like the MMO scene, right? I play Final Fantasy 14, or at least I did. I haven't played it for a long time now. Maybe about 3 months, 4 months. Could be like 5 months pushing it. I never really, I kind of dropped off after I finished the expansion in like 3 days. Maybe I burnt myself out in those 3-4 days playing 18 hours a day to finish the expansion. But if I play an MMO, I can't play 2. I've only got time for 1. And it was the same thing when I was really into Destiny. I was playing Destiny, so I only had time for Destiny. I didn't have time for Warframe or The Division. When I went to The Division, I stopped playing Destiny. I never went to Warframe because I just couldn't get into it. But generally, if we're playing a game that is going to suck the living life of time out of us, you only have time for one, at max two. Unless you're this two-who gacha guy that I've just been informed about that plays 13 gachas. That's 13 dailies. That's no life, literally. But anyway, that's off topic. So, not only does Marathon have to step in and wow you and say, right, I want to claim your time exclusively, but it also has to do that while making you pay for it. You gotta play too? What do you mean? Oh. But hey, apparently we're not gamers, right? Because we play on Game Pass. None of us are gamers. If you don't buy your games, none of us are gamers. Has anyone heard anything as stupid as that? Ever? I can't do it too, man. I don't have enough time in the day to just get through some of the games I want to play. Oh, I know he does. It was such a bad take. Like, that was such a bad take that he said. It was crazy. It just triggered me the wrong way. It triggered me so bad that I just had to say something. There's no way that you can turn around and say that just because... I mean, that's literally poor shaming someone. That is beyond sad. Exactly. Exactamundo. Exactamundo. It just doesn't make any sense. No matter how much sense I want it to make, it doesn't make any. It was crazy, man. I saw that tweet and I was like, nah, man, you can't be saying shit like that. Wait, what's a remake? What's a remake? I bought RoboCop on Xbox, never on Game Pass, but on their subscription. Yeah, I noticed that. I guess Sony just paid them a bit more money to put it on there. Oh, Oblivion's a remake. Mate, if you think Oblivion is a remaster just because they used 4 lines from the original game and inherited the same bugs, I've got an invisible bridge to sell you that's called a remaster. There's no way that is a remaster. No way. Just I mean, the moment I saw Oblivion, there was no shot that it was, no way in hell. Absolutely no chance that was a remaster. That was a full-on remake. Still, though, I appreciate the fact that they kept it nostalgic enough to leave some of the big bugs in there. So, respect to Bethesda for that. The best one being where the game uninstalls itself. Imagine that happening to you live. uh, oh man. Oh no, I'm not gonna get over that one. As someone who works in QA, that is my favorite bug. That is my second favorite bug of all time. I guess third. My first favorite bug was when I was working at Sega and I was testing Virtua Tennis, I believe it was, on the PSP. If you did a certain combination of stuff in the game, in the World Tour, the actual during the replay after a round, the NPCs would be horizontal and start kind of Superman flying around. And again with Virtua Tennis on the PSP, if you did the World Tour in a specific order, when you get to a specific date and you watch a replay, the whole screen just bobs off and that's it. You can't see anything. The whole screen shifts off the OLED. It was a brilliant bug. That was like insane. That bug was brilliant. The whole screen just literally just disjolted and just bubbled off the screen. Nice, Paul. But yeah, that alongside the Oblivion one where the game uninstalls itself, those are my favorite bugs so far. Anyone else got like memorable bugs that they actually have that they have fond memories of? A weird topic, I know, but still, there are just some bugs that you just cannot forget. Really? Oh, yeah, absolutely big money. The June showcase is going to be massive. I'm going to be streaming it. And yeah, we should be seeing some really big surprises there. There's some games that are going to be there that some of you will finally be happy it's landing on Xbox. And yeah, there's going to be some really nice surprises there. And some really weird ones as well, potentially with Nintendo. Who knows, gaming? Who knows? But I do predict we will be seeing some stuff from Square Enix at the. Square Enix will make a strong presence at the showcase. Mario and Rabbids. No, Nintendo won't give their games to anyone. I'm surprised Mario and Rabbids went out to other. It's weird. Wait, no, Mario and Rabbids stayed on the Nintendo platform. But this new list, so I've got a list of topics that I want to cover today, and this Game Pass cannibalization, especially with the news about Expedition 33 sales, been coming up again. And it's weird. It's so weird that this conversation time and time again keeps propping up. Like, if it wasn't, you know, sustainable, Microsoft wouldn't continue doing it. They make like $4 billion, $5 billion profit off it every year. That alone tells you that it's sustainable in terms of the service that they offer. It's just so weird. But now they're talking about cannibalizing sales, and look, let's be real, right? If I'm playing games on my subscription service, I'm not buying those games. It's a no goddamn brainer. Like, it's like saying, hey, if you don't eat food, bad things will happen. Well, yeah. Because you need food. You need fuel. If you don't drink water, bad things will happen. Well, yeah. If you listen to music on Spotify and you never buy music, well, does that cannibalize music sales? Well, yeah. If you watch Netflix and Hulu and HBO Max and don't go buy those DVDs and Blu-rays, does it cannibalize the Blu-ray and DVD market? Well, yeah. Like, what are they expecting to happen? Like, was they expecting a different outcome here? Some games will absolutely, you know, benefit from it in ways that they can't. And I call those the anomalies, right? Then you've got, I mean, games like Power World, for me, fall into the same bracket as games like Baldur's Gate 3, Wukong, which sold like 20, 30 million units, right? 40 million units. They fall into that category of the anomaly. It's not the norm. But that's not to say that Game Pass doesn't help small companies, you know, small indie studios. They do marketing for them. They do exposure for them. They put the game at the front of the store so people can be made more aware. They post about it on social media. So for the smaller indie companies, Game Pass, as just purely through exposure, is fantastic. That alone is worth their investment in going on to Game Pass, right? But for someone like, say, Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, it's not as appealing because they've got a big enough brand behind them where they can sell. They don't need the Game Pass stigma to actually, you know, to push out that message to people that this game exists and it's about. Do you know what I'm talking about? But, you know, does Game Pass in general cannibalize sales? I mean, let's look at it this way. I used to buy around 15 to 20 Xbox games a year. Maybe 25. Max. No more than that. Since I've been on Game Pass, I buy maybe 2 or 3 games a year. Because the rest I play on Game Pass. So my question to you is, has me owning Game Pass now affected me buying games on Xbox? Of course it has, gaming. I went from buying 25 games to 3. But that's not a problem. It's not a problem. Do you know why it's not a problem? Because the whole value prospect of Game Pass is for that purpose only. You don't own the games, you subscribe to a rental service, and you play them. If you want to buy them, then you can go and actually buy them. It's not stopping you from doing that. But what this is doing is giving you an option that you don't have to buy them. And there's nothing wrong with it. If Microsoft is giving you that option, the service is working as intended. So why is it such a big hoo-ha? Why is it such a big deal? Why are PlayStation fans going out of their way to make it a massive problem when it really isn't? The service is working as designed, as intended. Now, high price points, that's another thing that actually truly cannibalizes sales, right? Because when games used to be 50, 60 pound, I used to buy a lot of games. The moment they hit 70, psychologically that number came too close to 100, my purchase of games halved quite quickly. At that point, I started asking, do I really want this day one? Or am I going to wait for a sale and pick it up second hand or something? And a lot of the time, I went and bought it second hand for like 20, 30 quid. Because I knew I wasn't going to play it immediately. And none of that money goes to the developers at all. That goes straight to the second hand market. You know, to the dealers, to the second hand dealers. The developers and publishers see none of that money at all. So that's actually, in my opinion, a much bigger problem for cannibalizing sales than Game Pass. But the only reason PlayStation fans cannot stop talking about Game Pass is because they are jealous that they don't have Game Pass. That's it. That's it. And it's like, you know, I was talking to, we also had this conversation in the last stream, right? Didn't we? Where I said, yes, this game might be, Indiana Jones might have a little better lighting on the PS5 Pro. I mean, overall, they're pretty much the same game in graphics and everything. Is the upgrades that you get on the PS5 Pro worth £70? That's the question. And if the answer is no, then I stick to Game Pass. A 9 out of 10, I would play it on Game Pass than I will on Thing. It should be playable bags because they actually haven't taken the browser away. Yeah, but they were on cartridges, Banisher, so they were more like custom built. Also, manufacturing costs were way higher back then. If they were anything like they were today, they'd be a lot cheaper. Dude, I still got games I want to play back from, like... I still want to play Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. You know, we're talking Sega Saturn PS1 days. Like... Segata Sanshiro! That was my favorite Saturn advert. Chris, exactly. Exactly. But the point I'm making is all of this talk about how Game Pass cannibalizes sales, that is literally its intended function. It's designed to get you to subscribe to a service where you play games on the service while you are subscribed. And it wants you to stay subscribed to that service so they take a steady stream of money coming in. That's it. And they are happy with this. So if Microsoft is happy with this, the Xbox division is happy with this, why does anyone else care? And at the end of the day, I'll be absolutely real with you. If those games need to go to other platforms for me to be able to get them day and date on Game Pass, that's a necessary evil I'm willing to deal with. At the end of the day, if I'm getting them as part of the service, they can cheer and jeer all they want. The bottom line is, I'm picking up a 5080 at some point this year. What is their PlayStation 5 Pro going to do to my 5080? I mean, if they really want to go down that route of where the PS5 Pro plays it so much better. Thankfully, I actually need two platforms because I've got kids. So, you know, my kid was pretty much on Roblox up until I went live. He uses my PC because the console versions of Roblox sucks. But when they're on my thing, like Clear Obscure looks absolutely beautiful on my PC. Stunning. But I've spent 10 hours on my Xbox playing it because my kids are playing Roblox on my PC. I'm not going to kick them off my PC. So I play games depending on what is available. If he wants to play Rocket League, he jumps onto the Xbox because he prefers it on the Xbox. So then I jump on the PC. You know, the play anywhere aspect of Game Pass is really, truly remarkable. But, like, there is so much goodness in Game Pass. Why the media, and especially the PlayStation fans, are trying to tear it down, it's only one thing. They wish they had a service as good as Game Pass. They absolutely do. They want it. But they can't have it because Sony won't give it to them. In fact, Sony has decided to reward them in such a way that Sony has just increased their PS Plus price point again and offered zero value in return. In fact, what it's actually doing as of the end of this year, I believe, or some point this year, they're removing the PS4 games from PlayStation Plus. So they're actually increasing the price and removing value. Whereas Game Pass is like they've got like what, 9, 10 day one games this year? Even if you've done those at $50 each, which some of them are $70, that's $500. And I'm paying 170 quid a year and getting £500 worth of value. And that's not including the other games that are on the service that I'm playing. There's just no competition there. As a consumer, Game Pass is unstoppable. Exactly, Chris. It just offers you so many more ways to game. Right? It's just so much more accessible. I don't get it. Like, a subscription service by nature is designed to cannibalize sales. Anyone that says it isn't is not being truthful to themselves. The whole purpose of the service is so you play the games and you don't buy them. You subscribe to a service and you get those games. You don't buy them. Yes, you can buy them, right? It gives you the option, and they offer you a discount too. But you don't have to buy them. I played South of Midnight purely on Game Pass. If it offered like a collector's edition, I probably would have bought the collector's edition. I enjoyed it enough for that. But they didn't offer a collector's edition, so, like, what's the point? I don't need to own a digital license for it. The subscription is fine. I've got Game Pass until, like, what? Sometime in early 2027? The games I'm playing this year will have paid, you know, for the next 2 years. It's fine. Game Pass is in a good place, Edward. and it's continuing to grow. And the good thing is more and more studios are seeing this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the new box comes out, the new Xbox, because that's going to be I think that's going to shift stuff slightly with Game Pass, well, the way Game Pass works. But overall, I was looking at it, and even Puerto Rock came out and said, if Microsoft is happy with, the current income of Game Pass, why does anyone else care what it does? If Microsoft themselves are happy with Game Pass's input and output and progress and revenue, why is anyone else complaining? This was Puerto Rock saying this, right? The only reason it became news again, and I'll tell you why it became news, and this is the truth, right? The only reason it became news is because Expedition 33 is a banger and it's day one on Game Pass. That's it. It's a banger and we get it day one on Game Pass and they have to pay for it. That is it. Hey, Wayne's World, thank you so much for that £2 super chat. I appreciate you, my dude. Love watching your videos, Chaos. I check in weekly. I appreciate you so much, dude. Exactly, Cesano. My God, I am so thirsty. Not that sort of thirst. But you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just crazy. And it's all coming because of this, right? So this claim came out, as you can see here. Clear Obscure, Expedition 33 debuts at number 2 on the UK box chart. 96% of copies sold were PS5. So how many copies were sold? Mate, you have no idea. I just pulled Zani and whoo! You have no idea. I just managed to pull Zani this morning. Yeah, that was good. That was good. I need to pull Phoebe as well. Now, this is just UK boxed chart, right? Microsoft doesn't sell boxed games anymore. So let's break it down. The UK box chart. Microsoft in the UK doesn't really sell boxed products anymore. Only digital. So the game's available on PC, but PC doesn't have a box chart. It's not available on the Switch, so that doesn't count. So the limited number of... I'm pretty sure maybe there was a few copies of boxed that was released on Xbox, but the majority will be digital. So this is not only looking at a boxed chart, but we're talking 96% of in the UK that is boxed. And they don't even give you the actual number of what is sold. See, if they actually had all that information, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't look as impressive as it is. But a lot of that information is hidden. I wonder why. No, Microsoft, from what I've heard, funded quite a bit of it, though. Again, if I don't have physical copies in the UK, this isn't looking at digital sales. It's only looking at physical. What's the number? Oh, so it sold 10 copies in the UK, guys. That's all it sold in the UK. One copy on... It sold... Sorry. One copy, I guess, in the UK for Xbox and 19 copies for PlayStation 5. Man, that's a lot of copies it sold. That's a lot of copies. Let's give a round of applause for 19 copies sold in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. Paul, someone's actually going to believe you one day when you say that. Someone's one day going to actually believe that. Yeah, it's only boxed, you know, chart, and that doesn't really... Microsoft doesn't have... One, they don't have that big of a presence in the UK anyway. But two, their box presence is even less. And at the end of the day, once again, I don't care. Microsoft paid them their money. I got the game as part of my service. I'm playing it as part of my service on my Xbox and my PC. What do I care? And that's what it comes down to. It's just crazy. They don't give you the information of what the value is. They could have literally sold 20 copies. So 19 copies were sold by PlayStation and 1 copy on Xbox. Not really that impressive, is it? It starts to lose its magic value when you're looking at it in that way. When people just throw statistics at you and they don't throw any facts or figures behind it, it's generally because those facts and figures aren't as impressive. And so they hide it and mask it with the percentage value. They don't give you the details behind it. Because if they gave you the details behind it, it wouldn't be as impressive. It's just dumb. Well, that was another thing, right? That was really weird. Because Xbox Era actually put a post out for Wo Chang, right? And looking at this, good old Steve went in straight to correct him. This was already announced in June last year. It wasn't just announced now. It's so weird that everyone thinks it's just being announced now. Obviously, Xbox Zero deleted their tweet in the meantime because I think they quite quickly figured out where they went wrong. But yeah, it was funny. I haven't seen any ads for Wo Chang either. It's currently under wraps. Wo Chang? No, they haven't done anything for Wo Chang. Money Hatting? Money Hatting what? Wo Chang? No. I mean, they tried to do Crimson Desert and they said no. They turned them down. A couple of other companies turned them down as well because they're seeing that releasing their games on multiplat is just yielding them more of a return. Because porting games generally is quite easy. Like, Ghosty, that one still hurts my brain. I don't understand it. That one I don't understand. And there's no one can tell me anything that's going to make me understand that one. Or maybe they will. But I get that, Yetta, but it's just Sony contacted Microsoft to money a trailer so it wouldn't appear on the Xbox YouTube channel. That still hurts my brain. That still hurts my brain. I mean, Diablo, ultimately one is Linux based, the other one is Windows based. That's it. You know, the Series X is running on Windows 10. Whereas Sony's running on a custom Linux. But ultimately, like you say, in terms of the hardware, it's more or less the same. They're the same machines. Who knows, Byron? I've been told that the June Showcase is holding big surprises. And genuinely, that's all I've been told from some of my friends. And that's it. They haven't really given me any details. Just that it's holding some big surprises. So that could literally mean anything. But can you imagine if they actually did turn around and say, hey, here's like Ratchet & Clank or Telu or a GT7 on Xbox. Oh my god. Can you imagine the meltdown on social media, on Twitter? That would be truly a sight to behold. I think that will be the day that X truly does just stop working for a while. Idiots. Arsenal are 1-0 down. What do you mean the partner? The partner preview never happened. It was always a rumor, right, Phantas Archer? I mean, did you... It's really weird because Extas one? I can't remember. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He is being dragged through the mud at the moment, isn't he? Because apparently he goes around stealing other people's info and then pretends to leak them. At least that's what Jez was saying. And because he went over to X Podcast 2 and was listening to Jez and Rand talking, and they mentioned a new controllers coming from Microsoft, because we all need more controllers coming from Microsoft. And so he decided to quickly tweet that out as a exclusive that he found out and tried to get full claim credit for it. And then everyone was like, no, you got that information from from Chess. Why are you claiming it? So there's a bit of weirdness with that guy. I don't know how much of what he does is really legit true or not. Oh. Man, all I had was chicken salad. So yeah, I did a video on that actually. So Zach, thank you for the £2 super chat if you haven't seen it yet. It turns out it was probably due to something like licensing that they couldn't get it out. But what's interesting from that is the actual timing and the dates of when they were looking to release it. So the game got cancelled in 2024, and they had like a 2026-27 release date for PS5 and PS6. Now obviously 2026 would be for the PS5. 2027 would be for the PS6. Which is interesting because Sony said that they want to keep the PS5 Pro going for at least the 28 to 30. But if we're hearing this sort of stuff now, and we've already seen analysts saying that the PS6 is heading for a 2027 launch, now we're seeing games that were pretty much planned for a 2027 release on a PS6. That's kind of sucky for anyone that paid full price for a PS5 Pro. You're getting like 2 years for technically $800. Because remember, right? PlayStation fans don't buy digital games. They only buy physicals. So anyone that says it's $700, it doesn't count because they only buy physicals. No PlayStation fan alive buys digital games except me. But I'm not a PlayStation fan. I just like some of the games. But if you're a fan, you only buy physicals, so it's $800, and then you're gonna buy the stand as well because why not? So it's a little over $800. So for $800, you're getting basically 2 years. That's kind of crappy. That's really crappy, right? If the console's gonna come out, Woodpit, it's going to come out in November. Sony and Microsoft generally always release their consoles around the November period, so it goes straight into the holidays. So everyone wants it underneath their Christmas tree for their kid. But that's kind of really sucky, right? 2 years for an £800 console? But you're gonna buy it, right, Devin? Because you got all those physicals. So your PS5 Pro just got $100 more expensive. Well, that's the thing with Indiana Jones, Paul. Indiana Jones is 124 gigabytes. It physically doesn't fit on the disc. And they're crying, well, why don't you make it on 2 discs? Well, no, they're not going to do that. You don't really have a choice. The way Sony designed it was, hey, look. I mean, it's really, shady marketing the way they do it, right? Because what they've actually done is said, hey, look. We know you have a massive physical collection. But here is a digital console for a PS5 at, $399.99. Our cheapest PlayStation 5 yet. Oh, but you can't play your games. You need to tack on an extra $100 for that. But you can play. You can use the console for $399, but you just can't play any of your games. You have to tack on an extra 100 for that. It's the oldest, bamboozle trick in the book. The way the market, the pricing marketing works. It's done really. It's just done just such a nasty way. Oh, Heatwave. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm just saying what everyone on X says. I know it's a small echo chamber, but if you listen to them, no one buys games that are not physical. Hey chat, you should be like Banisher and not forget. And if you did forget, hit that like button. I mean, in terms of overall sales, it has Susano, but that 96% is only in the UK for boxed products. It's not global. That 96% isn't global. It's just in a subsection of a subsection of a subsection quadrant of statistics, which mean absolutely nothing if you don't have the numbers to detail with it, right? I mean, wasn't the concurrent like sorry chat, 1 second. Sorry about that. Thought my car alarm went off. Usually you multiply that by like 5, 6, and you get the average number of what the sales are. That's the usual ratio that you multiply the concurrent number usually by. So look, so 500,000-600,000 is about normal, I'd say, for that amount. About 500k, I think, is about normal, which is pretty decent for an indie game that has nothing really going for it, other than the fact that it was placed under. But what's actually even more interesting about Clear Obscure Expedition is the fact that there's a movie coming for it. Heatwave, why would you? This is the point I'm making, right? The service is designed. I mean, if you are in the service and you want to use it, if you are playing those games and you are completing them and you're the type of person that doesn't revisit games, why would you? It's, the service is working as it's intended to. So all this talk about, oh, it's bad this and it cannibalizes this. It's working as intended. It's providing you the value it's intended to provide you with. So, like, what's the big deal? I'll never understand why people keep bringing it up. But in this occasion, they actually brought it up because Expedition 33 is on Game Pass and people got salty that Sony fans had to pay for it. That's it. That's the only reason I can think of. But apparently, details on the live-action Claire Obscure Expedition 33 film being co-developed by the Sonic franchise producers and casting and director search is now underway. Do you think Cox from Daredevil is going to play as Gustav? I mean, right now, Microsoft make around 4 or 5 billion in profit. They're not going to just throw that away. And the good thing is, right, this is the other thing. As long as Game Pass is successful, until everything eventually moves over hardware and becomes an app, which, you know, in the future, that is what it's going to become. But until that point, as long as Game Pass is successful, you are guaranteed to see a next generation Xbox and a future one. Because the majority of Game Pass subscriptions are on console. And they would be crazy to throw that money away. That's coming in every month. I would watch the movie. Yeah, we'll check it out in a bit. Let's see. You know what, Jesse? I actually think you're not far off. Oh, this was that infographic thing. How long is this video anyway? This is the one that I saw Colt going after, because apparently there's a lot of things wrong with this video. I mean, that was a weird one, right? The state Borderlands 4. I know they're trying to hype it up as the next game, but it's a multiplayer game. 20 minutes. Sheesh. Maybe that's a react offline. That's probably going to be like a 40-50 minute react. I mean, Sony's in a really weird spot right now, right? Because games take between 5 and 10 years to make. And they just cancelled 12 games, or 9 games, or 10 games, whatever it was. And now they're in this big limbo where they don't really have anything that they can really force out. Sucker Punch is coming. Sucker Punch. Yote's coming, depending on if GTA is going to drop or not. If GTA is dropping, I would strongly advise Sony to not release Yote alongside GTA. That would literally kill the game and any hype it had with it. They've got Death Stranding 2, and that's obviously going to be on Xbox at some point. So really, they've got nothing else. Everything is like really far away. They kind of messed up. It's 20 minutes, Leaf, and a good react usually doubles that time or triples it. If you watch a react that's only 5 minutes longer than the video, it's a bad react. The general rule of thumb for a good react is that it's at least double the time. Game on, Jesse. That's the problem, right? It's the that's where the problem lies. Microsoft isn't in the business anymore to pay for exclusivity. They are, however, okay to, you know, give out trailers for their own games exclusively to other platforms, competing platforms. Again, that one hurts my brain. I'm gonna keep saying it because it hurts my brain. That makes no sense. Like, there's literally there's no value to what they're doing at all. But yes, you're right. You know, as long as these games are not being money hatted, that's the most important thing. The game, apparently they were looking at a movie of the game from beforehand. It is not, Paul. I mean, it's up to you guys. I don't mind watching it and reacting to it here on this channel, on this stream, at the end of the show. Because today's show is going to be a bit of a shorter one. So I definitely don't mind doing that. If people want it. But recently I put out a tweet, right? I put out this tweet. If Xbox is dead, why are ponies still talking about it? Because, you know, if it's dead, right? You kind of move on and you walk away. I mean, you can talk about the games and stuff coming from Microsoft, but why are you still talking about the hardware or the brand if it's dead? And I mean, we all know Dreamcast guy has been badgering on about this for as long as, you know, time immemorial. But then this guy came up with this tweet. And I really didn't have a way to respond to it without sounding disrespectful. So I chose not to respond to it. I still talk about the people I knew that are no longer here, pretty much on a daily occurrence. So, based on what he's saying, right? Is this CG guy, this drunk jug, actually saying that Xbox has as much relevance and value as the lost family members that he has? Is that what he's trying to say here? Is he trying to compare his lost family with a console? I didn't even know how to respond to this, but this is the sort of brain dead, brain rot mentality that is going on X. Like, how do you respond to this without getting your account banned? Like, how do you do that? I didn't get it. How do you respond to that? I can't think of a clear way of responding to this without me getting in trouble. So I chose not to respond to it. I mean, everyone thinks it's going to be out in November. It doesn't. That's a no-brainer. But the question is, will it hit November or 2026? I'm still of the mindset that it's going to be delayed. They're going to announce right at the last minute that they need more time, a few more months, and they're going to release it in the first quarter of 2026. Drop the 6 cents. No matter what I say will be misconstrued, but I just didn't even know how to respond to this. This is the sort of stupid that there's 90 responses to this. People have been really upset with what I've said. People have compared this to looking at an obituary. Don't you ever look at an obituary and talk about what's going on? I'm not joking. This is the stuff that's actually in this thread. Welcome to the show, Brick. No, they aren't bots, unfortunately. These are real people. And I know that depresses you, Susano. It depresses me too. That people are willing to talk about their loved ones who have passed in the same sentence as a console. Hey, Shinzo with the N-Gage. I still have Pandemonium for my N-Gage. I just don't have the N-Gage. I don't know where it is. I have Sonic, Pandemonium, and I think Tomb Raider. How do you be right with this one, though? PS5 Plus. How do you say this with a straight face? That's crazy. PlayStation will always be your favorite third party. Like they've pushed the monster or something. It's weird, man. It's so weird. GTA 6 is done. It's all about playtesting. Well, I mean, to QA something like GTA 6 is an absolute nightmare, especially at the scope, scale, and size. Like, I'm just trying to picture just me writing the test cases for that, because I work in QA. That's my profession. That's what I do for a living. To write the test cases for that, and don't forget, every time you're doing what you're doing, I'm not sure if the game actually allows you to do switching of characters on the fly. If it does, that is one game I do not want to QA. The QA for that will take months, if not years. There's no cap that game is coming out without bugs. I'm looking forward to Yote. I actually reacted to the trailer for that and I forgot to release it. Oops. That isn't going to happen, period. I mean, I'm just envisioning that the QA on that is just going to be an absolute nightmare. Like, for example, in one of the Horizon, I think it's Forza Horizon 4, I'm not sure if you guys know, but there's actually a really big bug in the game. So, somewhere completely off track, because my friend showed it to me because he was working on it at the time. And there's a massive hole in the ground. It looks like there's like gravel there, where it's like a desert kind of thing, and you go over it, right? But it's actually a hole, and you just fall straight through the game world. And the way Sumo Digital at the time developed it was that the whole world map was one big map, one big chunk. So if they wanted to tweak any part of that big world map for Forza Horizon, I think it was 4, could have been 3 though. They literally had to lift the whole map and replace it with a new one. And when Microsoft turned around and asked them, you know, how big the download was going to be, apparently it was massive. Like, it's like 70, 80 gigabytes at the time. Microsoft just said, nah, leave it. It's so off track that no one goes there. It's just one of the QAs managed to find it because that's what we do. And when they raised it to Microsoft at the time, they wanted a cost evaluation, and the cost wasn't a problem. The problem was that people were going to, at the time, you know, we're talking years ago, have to download 80 gigabytes for something that's so off map that the chances of you finding it is crazy. But it's still in that game today. You can still go to that location, drive over it, and you fall straight through the world map. I think you should be impressed, Paul. But no, that's why, you know, smart developers, when you've got a big map, you break it into sections, right? You break it into, like, if it's a big map, a big rectangle map, you break it into 8 sections or 10 sections. And so when you're going to make any changes, you just have to lift up that one section and download. So instead of like a 200 gigabyte download, you get away with like a 10 gigabyte download. That's the smart way to do it. They just didn't do it at the time that way. Yeah, try that. You see it? Yeah, Yote I think is going to be a good game. The only thing I didn't like about Yote is what Sucker Punch said about the game. They said it's going to have a bigger map, it's going to have more explorable areas, and that's just bloat to me. I thought Ghost of Tsushima was already bloated in itself, and it had a lot of stuff in there that didn't need to be there. I think the game was brilliant, by the way, absolutely brilliant. But I do think it was bloated, not Ubisoft bloat, but I reckon it was about halfway there. But if Yote is saying, "Oh, hey, we're making this map so much bigger. It's the biggest map we've ever made," that has me more concerned than excited. Because I think Tsushima was a fantastic game. And, it deserved the accolades it got, the respect it got, and, if you haven't played it, you should play it. It's a really good game. But trying to make it a selling point of, hey, this is the biggest map we've ever built, that's not a selling point to me. That actually is the type of thing that puts me off your game. I do. Well, that's the thing. The bigger the map is, the more resources you need to be able to cover and check in those games. And if the open world is so big, it becomes empty, barren, or it's just filled with copy and paste areas. Just weird stuff, man. Man, when you got PlayStation fans turning around and when they turn around and call this a clown show, you know that things are just not going good for Sony at the moment. What? Dwight? The hell is that? Dwight, none of that, please. I don't know, I just thought it was weird. When you got PlayStation fans turning around and complaining about it, that's just weird. You know that something's not right. They're not still posting, are they? Like I said, honestly, the only game I'm playing on my PS5 at the moment is Withering Waves and a little bit of Stellar Blade. That's really it. There's just not much else. I mean, I'm hoping eventually there's going to be something. I'd like my $100 to actually mean something at one point. I don't know, I've got no interest for it, base. I've never been a Borderlands fan, so I mean, for those that do enjoy it, happy days. And I really hope it's a good game, especially after the last one, which was, from all intents and purposes, regarded as a disaster. So I'm hoping this one is going to be better. What do you mean, Bags? What two did I pick? Well, Stellar Blade I'm trying to 100% because I really like it, but I only play it like once in a blue moon. And Withering Waves at the moment, I'm jumping between PC and PlayStation. I mean, what else is there to play on the... Like, realistically, what else is there to play? I guess at some point I could return to Returnal. I really do like that game, and I haven't finished it. So that's something I could return to at some point. But what else is there? You finally met Mad Maxi? It doesn't have to be exclusive, but if it's on Game Pass, I'm playing it either on my Xbox or the PC. If it's on Game Pass, I'm not buying it. Unless I really like it, then I'll buy the collector's edition. For example, Clear Obscure 33, Expedition 33. After 1 hour of playing, I knew I loved that game. It was so good. I wanted to buy the collector's edition. All sold out. I couldn't buy it. Wah wah wah. They didn't make enough of the collector's editions. They sold out instantly. So that was the end of that. You know. I haven't actually finished Rebirth, but isn't that now better on PC? And I have it on PC. I've got it both on PlayStation and PC. Now, if the saves are interchangeable, which I don't think it is, because Sony surely wouldn't allow you to do that. But if they did, that would have been really cool, but it's not. So I have to pick one. Not necessarily, Bags. No, it's not. There are games that just do not work well on PC, where they absolutely run better on console. They might be fixed like 9 years later on PC, but there are certain games that just do not work on PC. Like, for example, Returnal, that's available on PC, but even my 3090 Ti cannot run that game on Ultra. And that game came out ages ago. It is so badly optimized on PC that it's crazy. You need like a 40 series and, you know, higher than a 4070 Ti to run that game on Ultra at above 60 FPS. I mean, I don't know if they've patched it now, but at launch it was so badly optimized that playing it on PlayStation was just the superior way. Resident Evil 9 has been doing the rounds, hasn't it? It's been popping up every so often. I wonder if that could appear at the Xbox Showcase. I've got really high hopes for the Xbox Showcase. I reckon there's going to be There's going to be some really big surprises that appear there. Really big ones. You know? I don't mean to hype it up in a way where it's probably not going to live up to it, but I really think it's gonna do it. You know one game I really should sit down and play that I never finished? Resident Evil 4. 5 I've done, 6 I've done, 1 I've done, 2 I've done, 3 I've done. I've done them all, except for 4. I think I've only played it like halfway and then I stopped on the GameCube. I don't know why I stopped, but I did. But I knew he was gonna. Don't judge me because I didn't finish Resident Evil 4. Don't judge me. Things happened in life that prevented me from continuing what I was doing. These guys made me play Golem. And then Kong. I'm still under therapy for those two. I've done Code Veronica, yeah. I think I've done them all. I think the only two that I haven't played is, well, finished, is Resident Evil 4. And I didn't play 7, but I did watch it being played by the missus all the way through. So I didn't see a point in playing it myself. So 7 I didn't play because the missus was playing it. I finished 8, yeah. Done Resident Evil 0 on GameCube. Done Resident Evil Gun Survivors on PlayStation as well. Village was good. Village was really good. She used to play them a lot and then for some reason fell off. It's really weird because she was playing them a lot and was getting ready to she wanted to start streaming and then suddenly she just went cold turkey. The last time I played it was maybe about 2.5, 3 months ago. Resident Evil 6 was Michael Bay. Operation Raccoon City, I have played it, not finished it. That game is trash. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it is bad. It is really, really, really bad. Hey look, Bags, Resident Evil 6 had Ada Wong in it, so it kind of made up for it. Simple as. Favorite game, Commodore 64 game, Last Ninja not allowed, so it would probably be... was Prince of Persia on there or the Amstrad? the side-scrolling 2D 8-bit one, or 4-bit, whatever it was. I really enjoyed that, but I also enjoyed Rambo 3. But I think my favorite one probably would be Operation Wolf. I spent a lifetime on Operation Wolf. We love that game. Yeah, I think Operation Wolf. So this came out, right? US spending on video game subscriptions had been basically flat for years following 2020 to 2021 growth, only boosted by 12% in Q4 thanks to COD going to Game Pass. Subscriptions are certainly not the future of gaming, although they can continue to be part of it. What subscriptions are right now are in their early phase. They are not going to dominate anything. But what I am seeing from this is that there's been double-digit growth. Is anyone else seeing double-digit growth in this? Is that bad? I do not remember Moon Patrol. I remember the name, but not the game. I tell you what game I do want to buy right now, at the moment. Atelier Yumia. That's the next game I'm looking at buying. Oblivion is 100% a remake. That is not a remaster. They called it a remaster because it's still using the same code. The code base at the core is still the same. And I believe that's why they called it a remaster. They haven't rewritten the whole game from scratch to make it a full-on remake. So they used aspects of the old to make it new. But still, this is so drastically different that calling it a remaster is just not justice. It's a remake. It's taken 3 years to do it. 2-3 years. It's crazy. Not my sort of game, Shinzo. But if it's cheap, I might check it out. I actually downloaded the demo, but I know I'm going to enjoy it, even though it is different to the other games in the series. But I decided not to play the demo until I buy the game. That's why I said, Bags, it's such a drastic change and increase that it's a remake. It's awful, trust me. Yes, it was, Edward. Man, there's some oldies in this chat like me, man. But yeah, man, this doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. I mean, Susano, you're overthinking this, right? You're overthinking it because PlayStation Plus, Extras, and Premium exist, and they provide you a rental service for games that people can go, rent, and play, right? It's exactly the same. It's just not giving you day one games. There is no difference between the service that Sony is offering and Xbox is offering at the fundamental core. The only difference is the content. One is providing you with great value, the other one isn't. But ultimately, they are both rental services. Why is it okay for PlayStation to offer people rental games? You see them cheering week in, week out when those PlayStation games get announced by Sony, free games, and at least one of them might be good, and they cheer over the moon that they can get to finally play it. So you got all these same people that are basically criticizing Game Pass, cheering for the exact same thing being on PlayStation. It's all salty behavior. They're all just jealous. They want a Game Pass service on PlayStation. That's what they want. And obviously Sony can't afford it, so they're not going to get it. But that's what they want. They want Game Pass as a service on PlayStation natively. Heatwave, yeah. I mean, they increased their price, Heatwave, and they removed, content. How do you do? I mean, people often mock to Microsoft. Hey, look, they increased their price just before COD came out. I mean, the game cost a hell of a lot of money to make, right? I'm not saying that I am for price increases. Absolutely not. And I think it was, the wrong time for Microsoft to do that. 100%, without a shadow of doubt. But you're going to increase your price and not add any value and remove value? This is the second time they've done that as well. The previous price increase that Sony did, they removed more value. Heatwave, I think that's more than a rumor. That's all I can really say on that right now. I haven't, I'm not going to make a video on it or talk about it much because I know a little bit more than I should do, and I've been asked not to talk about it, but I'll just say I think that's more than just a rumor. And I'll leave it there. You can fill in the blanks. I think I can pretty much say that without getting in trouble. I think they've already hit 50 million, honestly. That 34 million doesn't include Game Pass Core. And Game Pass Core was around 10 million. So that already puts them at 45 million. And we already know that they had like a 3 to 5% increase with Call of Duty. Unknown how many of those stuck around after the first or second month. But that's already put them at 50 million. I'd say Game Pass now is about anywhere between 45 and 50. Still a lot less than what they envisioned, with it being at over 100 million by now. Well, the next Xbox is supposed to be pretty much a PC pool, if what they're saying is true. So it'll run everything. Nah. See, let me see if I can find that statement from Tom Warren. Let's see. Is it here? Here you go. Right. The 34 million Game Pass membership number is accurate. Xbox Sarah Bond, Xbox President Sarah Bond mentioned 34 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers will have access to Diablo 4 next month. The 34 million Game Pass membership number is accurate. Diablo 4 is coming to Xbox Game Pass on March the 28th, with the exception of the Game Pass core catalog, which is separate to Game Pass. Right? Xbox Game Pass is separate to Xbox Game Pass core. It's a separate service. Now, anyone that's reading that response can clearly tell you that she is talking about two different services. Xbox Game Pass is at 34 million. Xbox Game Pass core is at 10 million. Well, that's at the time of when this was made, right? So that already at this time put Game Pass and Game Pass core combined at 44 million. You work out the rest. And they said there's been a 12% growth with the Call of Duty release. And that was solely instigated by Call of Duty. So that number should exceed 50 million already. Game Pass Core is basically Xbox Live, and you get a catalog of like 25 games that you can play that they once every 3 months they rotate a couple of games in and out. Have a good night, Paul. Borderlands 4 and Marathon are releasing the same day. I think that's okay. I don't think they'll overshadow each other. They're aiming for two different markets. However, the casual crew is going to go for Borderlands, so that might hurt Marathon a little bit. What you're talking about, Susano, is the 10 million PC Game Pass subscribers that was posted by mistake onto LinkedIn. Do I have that? I don't know if I have it still. I remember I did have it somewhere, but I can't remember if I've still got it. No, it's not here. Just checking to see if I might have it by any chance. But I'm not seeing anything else here, really. Aha! I do have it. It was by Mark Swarsky. Partnered with creative directors at Bethesda and Xbox Studios to pilot new growth, making it easier for over 15 million PC players to enjoy Xbox Game Pass. So as you can see, quite a large number. That was the LinkedIn thing. But it's basically something like 26 million now on console, 10 million on PC, and the rest is core. But now you've got the addition of the game Call of Duty numbers that boosted it quite a bit. So it is very close to 50 million. So what's your thoughts about this one over here? Devin is buying so many copies, he's even buying me a copy. So what do you think of this, chat? I mean, Dreamcast guy says a lot of things. He also talks a lot of shit. Every time I watch one of his videos, I lose brain cells. But he's always going to lie in his videos. If he ever says anything that's truthful, no one will watch his videos. He will always... He's a pathological liar. He will always lie. He will lie to whatever makes him money. But I thought this was a bit cringe, right? Considering this character over here is 16 years old. And look at the way Nibs is actually really checking this 16-year-old out. Yeah, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Yeah, they're perving on a 16-year-old girl in the game. I mean, I'll just leave that there. You know, I'm not gonna watch any more of that. It's uncomfortable. Exactly, yeah, Tazak. Exactly. There's just no shot that you're gonna post that publicly and start perving over something like that. Ah, poor Chili. Poor Chili. So is the age of consent in America 15 as well? Or the UK? I guess different states might have different laws, but I can tell you that the age of consent in the UK is not 15. Yeah. The one that posted that does not live in France. Hey, Ray. But yeah, I think Marathon is playing a really dangerous game at the moment. And if they choose to release it at the same time as Borderlands and very close to GTA 6, I think they're going to find out very quickly that that's not a very good idea. Hey, I'll dress up as Fred and we can go, you know, with our clubs somewhere. What's this? Respawn is released a word salad of words. What are they saying? Let's have a look. At Respawn, bold ideas, creative risks, and passionate storytelling have always defined who we are. That spirit has carried us through incredible highs and sometimes through difficult changes too. As we sharpen our focus for the future, we've made the decision to step away from 2 early stage incubation projects and make some targeted team adjustments across Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi. These decisions aren't easy, and we are deeply grateful to every teammate affected. Their creativity and contributions have helped build Respawn into what it is today. We're offering meaningful support to those impacted, including exploring new opportunities with EA, so basically layoffs. Looking ahead, our commitment to player-first experience remains unchanged. Innovation has always been at the core of Respawn's identity, and it continues to drive how we build the future, from evolving live experiences to crafting new worlds and stories. For Apex Legends, that means not just delivering competitive, innovative seasons, but expanding what Apex can be. While the team will continue to refine gameplay and bring new ideas to upcoming seasons, we're also investing in what's next for the franchise, exploring bold experiences that push the boundaries of competitive play while staying true to the spirit of competition, creativity, and integrity that our community expects. For those that don't know, Apex Legends is actually in the process of building a extraction mode for their game. That's going to be interesting with Marathon, right? Considering both of them look identical. Within the Star Wars universe, we're excited to keep building new stories, with the next chapter of the Star Wars Jedi series aiming to raise the bar again for storytelling and gameplay. To everyone who has been part of our journey, past, present, and future, thank you for making Respawn what it is. We carry your legacy with us into everything we create next. So basically, a bunch of people just lost their jobs because they decided to cancel 2 projects. So yeah, that's Corpo speak for YOLO. You guys are out. That's mental. I have Devastator. I've only got time for one video, and there's one that was suggested before you, so I'll leave it to chat to decide which one they want to watch first. But it's going to be interesting. But I think that's pretty much everything that I'm looking at that's newsworthy. Damn, Nikkei is proper pushing, except beyond acceptable boundaries, man. Jesus. Nikkei is on another level. That's gone full on Goonerfield. Alright, so there's two videos that we can look at today, potentially. One is quite long, which might be better off me doing in my spare time, but up to you guys. So there is the... where is it? There is one from DCG, Already Dead, talking about Marathon Alpha. And then there's the end of an era for Xbox. The real reason Xbox is failing, the one that people think the infographic show used AI to make. The end of era one is 20 minutes long, so that's going to be like a 40 to 50 minute reaction, give or take. So I think that might be best left for a separate window. Alright, we're going to do a quick, really quick poll, but I think I know where this is heading. But since everyone likes their polls, let's do a poll. Let's start a poll. This is going to be literally a 2-minute poll. Well, maybe a minute poll. React video 45 min 15 20 min. All right, get voting. Wait, someone actually put... No, no, someone put... Who? Alright, own up. Who actually put down... Wow, some of you guys are mental. You want a 50-minute react on stream. It was totally Taz, wasn't it? Alright. DCG is then. That's good enough. By the way, just a quick update for Thursday. Now, I'm gonna check in with Chili if he's available or not. I think he's not available this week. He's gonna be in London. So if there isn't much in terms of news going on, because we've covered the news today, doing gaming streams on YouTube really hurts the algorithm on my channel and really damages the channel, to be fair. So I'm gonna push those streams over to Twitch. So if on Thursday nothing's happening, keep an eye out for the community section of my Discord or social media. I'm going to update you guys on Wednesday when I find out. And we may just play something over at Twitch where it doesn't cripple the algorithm that I've got going over here. Because I've done it for a few weeks and it's severely damaged the algorithm on my channel. So I'd like to avoid that. But hopefully there'll be some stuff that we can talk about and we can hang out over here. But yeah, just a FYI. Or I might just forego the whole thing if there's nothing really to talk about. I did try to get Demoflow on today, but he's working. So the time just doesn't work unless it's the weekend. So maybe I'll push one of the days to the weekend or something to make it easier to get people to join the show. We'll see. We shall see. But just putting it out there, just so you know, you guys have some awareness. All right. What are we doing here? We're gonna go here. We're gonna reduce this because we don't want to listen to that, and we're gonna listen to this bozo now. Let's see what he has to say. All right. So I guess I can also record this. This is a live stream. This game is already screwed. Marathon Alpha impressions are so bad, says DCG. Let's see what he has to say. 3, 2, 1.
Hey there, gamers. Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're going to talk about Marathon because yesterday I had my surgery. They put 4 big spikes into my jaw, and currently I'm in a lot of pain. In fact, I'm kind of agonized. But while I was sitting on the couch after the surgery itself,
why don't you just take a couple of days off and not make a video? If you're that agonized, why are you even doing this? Like, seriously.
I decided to kind of just watch a bunch of different Marathon streams, a bunch of people that played extraction shooters and Destiny fans and people that were, not even into that genre. People that just wanted to play a good game. And what was interesting to me is that it does feel like nobody is enjoying Marathon. I mean, I'm sure some people are, but this game is clearly going to be the make or break for Bungie. The inventors of Halo are betting everything on this. And it feels like each part of it, from the busted aim assist to the bad UI to the terrible character design to the empty maps to the lack of PvP in a PvP shooter, it feels like it's not.
Well, I mean, you can't really blame the empty maps when they've only sent out select number of invite codes, right? That means there's only going to be a certain number of people playing, and not everyone that got the invite code is going to play it for more than an hour. That's just how betas work. Most people just try it to see if they like it, and if they don't, they move on. They're not going to sit there for hours doing it. There's only so many content creators out there. This is just such a bad take to actually use that as a metric for a closed alpha test. So weird.
Not connecting with fans or casuals. But let's talk, because I got a bunch of takes I want to take a look at. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I am actually in a astronomical amount of pain, so if at any point I sound...
So stop recording! You're not going to get any sympathy, I'm sorry.
A bit funny. I'm trying to block out pain as best I can, but I wanted to start with this. I saw a bunch of stuff from... I feel like I'm most fascinated by the people that are classically obsessed with Destiny, because Destiny 2, whether you love it, whether you hate it, it's a game that definitely made a lot of money, and it's definitely what led to the purchasing of Bungie by Sony, right? Sony said, okay, you guys are good at making a live service game that lasts years and years and years, and launching expansions and growing your player base. You can help us towards our push towards live service. Now,
I mean, really? Making a lot of money? Ain't they in like stupid amounts of debt, and that's why they're being torn apart at the moment? Because they don't know how to run a business? I mean, there's lie number 1 right there.
I have not been secretive. I don't like the idea that PlayStation is really trying to make a bunch of games as a service stuff. I just feel like I like Sony's narrative-focused stuff. Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man. I feel like that stuff is very much their bread and butter. I don't like the idea of all this multiplayer, online-focused stuff, but this is stuff that was interesting to me. So Destin, like Gary, does a lot of Xbox content, but he is a guy that has played a lot, probably tens of thousands of hours of Destiny. And he said, gave Marathon a shot today, and I gotta be honest with y'all, I'm feeling lukewarm on it at the moment. Did the intro missions, died a few times, X-filled a few times, just fairly apathetic to neutral on this one. Now, what's interesting about this is that this is a very different style of shooter. I've seen people say it has the speed, the aiming, the pace of Destiny, which is a good thing, but a lot of people have been kind of pissed about the fact that Extraction shooters play very different. The biggest game in the genre is this one here, Escape from Tarkov. Now, the way this genre works is that you drop into a map and there's NPCs and enemy players. You have a 20-minute timer. You're trying to kill as many of the NPCs and other players, and by killing people, you can loot their items, both crafting materials and just raw guns and stuff like that. And by taking them and managing to escape the map whenever an evacuation point appears, you get to keep those weapons. But the game is basically built on that really satisfying risk versus reward. Do I want to stay here and try and do another quest? Do I want to do that side objective? Or
And here's the thing, right? Bungie knows that they are going to have to compete with Tarkov. And if I'm not mistaken, I've actually read somewhere that I think Tarkov is being made for consoles as well, and is dropping this year, or is dropping soon. If Tarkov drops before Marathon's going to be in severe trouble, because console gamers are going to rush to Tarkov. That's because that's the best in the genre. And if they actually manage to get it working right and get the formula right for console, Marathon's going to be on its last legs.
do I want to try and escape while I have this incredibly good gun on me? It's an interesting idea, but a lot of people are saying, okay, it just doesn't really seem to have that flow, and other games are doing it better. I think about Marathon this way. Bungie has a chance to bring the Tarkov Delta Force experience to console and PP crossplay. Destiny brought the World of Warcraft Lite experience to console and mass market. I think they have a chance of finding success here, and I'm rooting for them, but after the reveal, I was left cautious instead of hyped. A lot of people seem to be just not thrilled in general with how the game looks and plays, but I wanted to just go through two more people here and then a bunch of stuff. The developers have kind of been pushing back on a lot of the criticisms that, to me, I feel like their countering of the negativity has not been the best, but here's one by Tom Warren. I've played enough Marathon to have some brief thoughts. Gunplay is classic Bungie, and it feels great. Big kudos to that. There's plenty of PvP if you go looking for it. The AI enemies are rather clever and well-equipped. The inside environments look gorgeous. The outside environments need some work. I've seen a bunch of stuff. After watching a bunch of streams, the outside is basically empty.
Again, whether it's a beta or an alpha, I don't really think it's an alpha at this point. I still think it's a beta. Alpha's really early stage, man, where you've got like placeholders and shit everywhere, which you didn't really see here. So I think it's way more advanced and developed than the name. It's just the alpha and the beta naming convention has just gone crazy. But I will say that what you see now won't drastically change if they were going to release it in a couple months' time. It would be pretty much what you're seeing here. Maybe slightly polished here and there, slightly brushed up, but ultimately it's going to be what you saw.
I saw that a bunch of streamers, they're all playing it on PC for the most part. They've been having troubles with the fact that the game runs exceptionally bad, which is strange. People with like $10,000 PCs that, Shroud and stuff, people that entire job is about playing first-person shooters with the highest frame rate possible so they can 360 no-scope kill people. Those people are having to lower the graphics to keep above 100 FPS and therefore have, the smoothest frame rate they could. It is interesting that
you don't need a $10,000 PC to get 100 FPS. What are these people even talking about?
The game does seem to be poorly optimized for how tiny it is. The actual raw file size, Marathon, is 5.9 gigs. It's not even 6 gigs. So it's weird that it seems to have so much trouble just running what is essentially such a tiny file, but it often feels like I'm playing Apex Legends as an extraction shooter, but with a stamina system that makes movement feel clunky.
And that's the point, right? When I showed Marathon to my kid that day when we were streaming, everything that he saw there was basically a rip straight from Apex Legends. From the way you heal, from the way you replenish your shield, from the way the sliding animations and everything. He said it was just Apex in a nutshell.
The gameplay loop is not compelling enough to make me want to play more of this over other shooters. This is kind of the big problem I think that a lot of games are having. Not just shooters, but in general, it does seem like people are getting locked into their forever games. There's been a bunch of studies about this in the industry, but it does kind of feel like every company now is trying to make a game that can have seasons and seasons of content. Okay, here's Diablo 4. Here's the next season. Here's the next battle pass. Here's the next paid cosmetic skins. Same with things like, obviously, Destiny has been doing this, or even, obviously, Fortnite. Everybody's trying to make that forever game, and the difficulty is making something so good they want to either quit that game to play yours or at least take a break, right? Okay, put down Apex Legends, try this. And I almost think that having an upfront cost, which they haven't said the price of Marathon yet, but it seems like it's going to be $40, the same as Helldivers, I still feel like having an upfront cost at all is going to make it where less people are even willing to give it a shot.
And that's the most important thing, right? Because they've got a upfront value, why would I risk playing it knowing that there's a greater chance that I'm not going to like it than I'm going to like it? But the second point he touched on, which I'm not sure if anyone really picked on, was when he said that forever game. And this is what I was referring to earlier in the stream when I was talking about you only really have time to play one MMO or one live service game. You don't have time to sit down and play, both Destiny, Division, Warframe, all of those games and, maximize your time on them at the same time. You just don't have the time. You don't have the resources. So something often starts to lack. And if you've spent, I don't know, say 3 years in Tarkov, Marathon has to offer something exponentially mind blowing to get your 3 years worth of data to mean nothing to you and for you to switch game. Do you see what I mean? So that's really important here. I know he kind of like brushed over it, but that's a really big fundamental issue.
Now, let me continue here. Here was I saw really kind of ripping into it. Got a couple hours into Marathon. Gunplay feels excellent. Visuals are good, but the style will not make mass appeal. Depending on the flow, depending on game flow, you might not even have many player encounters for better or worse. Curious about longevity. What will be done to keep the formula fresh? Now, this is definitely one of the weirder parts of it is that because there is a stamina system, because you can't just run everywhere and stuff like that, you do have to be careful about not getting stuck out in the open, not trying to run from one building to the next. I did notice that in a lot of the playthroughs I watched, a lot of the streams, people would basically have entire runs where they did not see enemy players. Like straight up, didn't even see them. They'd kill a couple NPCs. They do one of their quests, which is like get 5 headshots. They do that on some of the bots on the map. And then they exfil. They leave. They evacuate while they have good loot and can now turn in that quest for extra stuff. It does feel weird that a PvP versus PvE shooter, something that does sort of incorporates all the mechanics of it, it doesn't really feel like they've figured out how to make that have a fun flow that you want to play over and over again.
And remember earlier again, I said, wow, this is actually 20 minutes. I didn't realize that. Devastator, you bamboozled me. We spoke about this. And, we spoke about this earlier regarding how Marathon is trying to be the jack of all trades rather than, you know, kind of focus on one area and be really good at it. It's trying to appeal to everyone because they want to try and get as big of an audience. But when you've got a £40 price tag, that makes it a lot more difficult. And if you're not shining in one area so everyone can say, hey man, that looks really damn fucking cool, if you're kind of like, yeah, this actually looks all right all over, then it loses that mass appeal. So they kind of need to pick a lane and decide what they want this game to be. And at the moment, I think that's its biggest problem. It's having an identity crisis. It doesn't know what it wants to be. And that's an issue. Because when a game doesn't know what it wants to be, that game isn't ready for really launch at all.
It's a pretty standard extraction shooter from what I played today. Gonna put in more time, and if I stop enjoying it, I'll just put it down. Nothing I saw so far makes me hyped. Gonna need more reps, but as of now, I can't see this thing being something I think about playing when I'm not playing it. Know what I mean? And this is a good sense. The best games, you miss playing it. Whenever you step away, you're like, damn, it sure would be nice if I had another chance to try this. Man, I want to get more loot. Oh, me and the boys are going to hop on. I'm excited while I'm finishing my shift at the bookstore. Now I'm excited to get back online and try that next big map. And if I die, man, it sucks to lose these weapons, but now I want to level up all over again. I've seen a lot of people saying they don't crave playing it, which can be a very, very bad sign. Now, let's talk about some of the stuff that people are the most pissed about, which is this. There is console aim assist on PC. It's basically aim hacks. I mean, legitimately, people are saying the game is going to be dead at arrival. It will automatically track targets and headshot them to death with basically no input. Look at this. I mean, to me, this is ridiculous.
This is also a problem in Destiny on PC, right? If you switch to keyboard and mouse and then plug a controller in, and then continue playing with keyboard and mouse, you actually get aim assist with your keyboard and mouse. That's powered by the controller. It's crazy, but you can actually do it. And a lot of PC players do this as well.
It doesn't even make sense. They've already done a reply, though, saying, hey, the Marathon gameplay director, Andrew Witz, talks about aim assist on mouse and keyboard. We're not trying to make it a must-pick kind of thing. That's why it's a toggle. We're trying it out as a lever to keep parity between mouse and keyboard and controller. We don't think it's the most perfect spot. This is just us getting it out there to have some thoughts that we can iterate from. This doesn't even make sense. Honestly, the idea of putting aim assist on mouse and keyboard, it's one of those things that's so tried and true. Everybody that's tried this, it's gone abysmally bad. I don't know why they even put this into the alpha. There has been talks about the fact that, in general, people have been incredibly harsh about this just because I like the look of the trailer. I thought the gameplay, I liked the minimalist art, the whole idea of us being bounty hunters that are pouring our minds into these shells for a desperate act to make a quick buck. The world of Marathon, for me, still works. But the problem is that the world doesn't really seem to matter. This is just a basic extraction shooter. It's Tarkov with even less world building. Marathon's art director responds to the very massive criticism, in my opinion. A lot of people are saying that the character designs are just too bare bones. Everyone is entitled to their take. There's room for both and more. And I think this is funny that a lot of people are like, okay, this feels like they're just being like, oh, we know a lot of y'all are screaming about how much you hate it, but just deal with it. Always feels like maybe saying less is more. I also have to say, something that a lot of people have been criticizing is the UI. I think this looks atrocious.
Man, that UI looks bad. And when you actually are in game, it literally is Roblox. They just looked at Roblox and said, hey, that looks kind of easy to do. Let's just use that. Because my kid plays a game called Amazon Rising, I think it's called. Amazon Rising 2 on Roblox. And it's basically a survival game. Where you can extract and stuff. And yeah, it's the actual menu interface while you're in game is almost identical.
This game currently does not have a social hub. They said they're talking about maybe doing a social hub sometime next year. When you turn the game on, there's no way to show off your cosmetics. There's no way to check out your character.
That is the other thing. Unlike other games which actually allow you to, have a fashion game going on, some people will be happy about this, some not. The actual skins for these are full suit. So you can't change like the individual panels to match your style. It's literally a full takeover skin, which is lazy.
It is literally just start, equip, make your party, and then drop in. And to me, It feels like this game needs something that feels like more of a world. Maybe this is just me because I do play a lot of online games like Diablo and games that do have a sense of community about being able to chill out and see other gear and see other options and walk
I
up to
figured out
another
why I
player
was
and
quiet.
inspect them and see what build are they using. I've seen a lot of people saying that this UI does suck. Also, right now, there isn't a way to break down guns. At least it doesn't seem like it. And what I mean is that when you pick
For
up
some
stuff
reason,
on the
my
map,
for some reason my the gain adjuster went down to 1 from 2, which is weird. But thanks for pointing that out because I didn't realize it actually dropped.
you can have different attachments. Sometimes you'll find a good scope or a different butt to the gun and stuff like that, and you can connect them to the guns, but you can't snap them off. At least that's what a lot of the streamers I've been watching have been talking about. So if you find a gun that's good and you find something that's better, there's that thing of like, okay, well, I want to use this piece of that gun, but there's just no way to disassemble it. Now, again, this is
Okay, so this is something that he doesn't understand, and he's overthinking this, right? Because this game is going to be available on consoles and PC, right? It is clearly engineered to be for console gamers. They are aiming for the console market, and they really want to get this out before Tarkov actually gets to the console. This game is looking like, from what I can understand and what he's saying, it's not that it's badly designed. Everything is engineered to be as humanly simple as possible for a console gamer. Because in an actual situation where you're playing on like Tarkov on PC, like if you see the speed in which my kid opens the bags and takes the attachments off these guns, and this is on Roblox by the way, takes the attachments off and then throws the gun away, or takes the whole thing and goes through the whole list like in like a second through the whole bag, and he can scan through in that second or so and see exactly what he wants or doesn't need. You can't do that on console. That's the part where it needs to be simplified so you don't spend 5 minutes there going through a bag and getting shot in the back of the head. So it's clear that Bungie is aiming this for console first and PC second. It's not really designed for the PC community. It's not designed for the keyboard and mouse community. This is designed for the controller community.
an alpha, maybe in the open beta at some point. They will have that kind of option, but it does kind of worry me that this game feels surprisingly bare bones compared to competition that's already more established, bigger, more beloved. I just feel like this doesn't quite connect yet. Here is the thing.
And that's another point he touches on, which I will always agree with. A lot of people say, well, Tarkov, for example, I'm going to use Tarkov a lot in this example. But and I don't even know how long Tarkov has been out for, but let's just say Tarkov's been out for 6 years. And then people will say, yeah, but Tarkov has had 6 years to get to where it is. Marathon's only just come out, so give it a chance. In time it will get better. No. They can clearly see what their competition is doing and where their competition is and how good their competition is. When you come out of that gate, you need to be better than your competition. Not turn around to the consumer and say, hey, buy my product in 6 years. It's going to be a good game. But right now, it's a complete, trash bin. I don't agree with that at all.
That to me, I think is going to kill it more than anything else. And again, it's just my personal opinion. The game will not have a solo only mode. There's a lot of things that we pretty much that we're able to massively adjust about the maps, the loot, the balance, the runners, and that kind of mode. They basically said this game is only going to be 3-person teams, you and 2 friends.
Why is this actually a problem? Because this is a major problem in this game. And here's why. In games like Marvel Rivals, it's not that big of a deal because it's a group-based game. You go and kill your opponent and you move on. But in a game like this and Tarkov, you get objectives. But those contracts that you get are individual, they're not grouped contracts. So what you have now is you jump in with 3 players. One goes north, the other one goes east, and the other one goes west, right? And so what you've got at the moment is basically a 3-player team that is so spread out that they're all playing solo. But if the other team that you're playing against is coordinated, they're going to pick you off one by one quite easily, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. And so that's the problem, and that's why the whole solo mode for this would have been really good, because then you know, even if you are going to do your contracts, your faction contracts, yes, they had the audacity to call it factions. You know that you're on your own and you're facing against solo other players. You know that you're not going to get ganged up on. It's an interesting point.
And I like the idea that I think conceptually that is cool about that's just the way this world works.
Thanks,
if you want to
Gina.
drop onto these maps, you have to play it in this exact way. I think ideally that is neat, but undeniably that is going to hurt the amount of lobbies you're going to find. Like, what happens if I can only play this game with 2 other people? What happens if my bros don't want to play? What happens if I get my rarest, coolest guns?
Man thinks he has bros. Okay, that was evil. That was mean. That was mean, chat. That was mean.
I drop into the map and I have 2 randoms, 2 random party fill people. One of them disconnects, the other guy completely sucks. I now lose my incredibly crucial guns. Now, some people that are very much into extraction shooters say, yes, but that's the fun of it. The fear of losing your good stuff, of accidentally losing it and then having to earn it back. That's the thrill that keeps you on the content treadmill. But that, to me, I still feel like it is important to have a solo mode. I still like that would actually really help sell it. On the other hand, I get it. On the other hand, for me, and I imagine others, solos is something that would get me more engaged, but it's clearly far out if it happens at all. I think kind of my fear is that people keep talking about Concord, the stink of Concord, the fact that last year PlayStation launched a $400 million project, a game that cost $400 million by a lot of leaked reports to make a shooter that lasted 11 days. And they did do mass refunds. It's not like any of the players lost money on it, but I do kind of think about the fact that I'm a bit afraid that what happens if I do get into this game? What happens if I do act?
I know, right? But Gary, he hasn't stopped at all. For someone that's in pain, he would have stopped at least at some point. He's not selling that pain drug very well, is he?
Actually care about practicing it and improving it and stuff like that. And by the time they do put the solos mode that I'm most excited about, the game just gets canned before it's released. That would suck. This kind of feels like the big problem with buying into a game is that with stuff like this, even if it is 1.0, even if it is a complete game, it's always going to kind of feel early access because they're always tinkering with it. They're always trying to polish it up. They're always trying to make it that next big season. And to me, that is a bit off-putting. Let me go on here. Some people have been talking about the fact that it's not exactly burning up the Steam charts. Now, currently the alpha is on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, and it is on Steam. And it had less than 7,000 concurrent players. And people are going, okay, if we're trying to do the Concord 2 thing.
Again, how many people were given access? See, this is the thing. He's saying that 7,000 concurrent people were on the Steam version. And I'm going to give, Bungie the benefit of the doubt here. What if they actually just gave 7,000 codes away? That's actually really impressive now, right? This is what I was saying earlier with the whole 96% of Expedition 33 being on PlayStation. Without the actual facts and figures, that percentage literally means nothing. And without knowing the actual numbers of how many people were given access, again, this is some guidance, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really tell you anything about the big picture. If there were 7,500 codes given, it's still really impressive, right? That almost everyone was in the game. But if they gave out, say, 100,000 codes, and only 6,000 turned up, then you start to wonder, like, what the hell's going on here, guys? There's no interest.
Marathon has doubled the players of the game's open beta, and this is a severely capped closed alpha, with approximately 80% of the people being denied a code so far. And that's people invested enough to request in the first place. I still feel like, no matter how you want to spin this, I do still feel like less than 7,000. I almost said 17,000, because even 17,000 I think would be abysmally bad. Less than 7,000 concurrent players to me seems yikes bad. I mean, to put into context, like Helldivers had like 500,000 concurrent players. Obviously, different style, but those are both partially Sony funded games. In the case of Helldivers 2, that was a PlayStation exclusive. It was on Steam, it was on PS5, and it was a $40 cost as well. I'm just kind of thinking 7,000 concurrent players does to me feel worryingly small. Okay, last tweet here, because this is another one that has an official reply from the developers themselves. I think one Marathon visual a lot of people are having issues with, or experiencing, is that we're really used to these Blender render cutscenes at this point, but by comparison, the in-game comes across as very, very flat. I know it's unfinished, but yeah. I mean, from the trailers, this looks awesome, and in the actual game, stuff looks hilariously bad. I mean, this looks practically cel-shaded. It looks almost unrendered. And here is one of the directors of the game itself. This is the art director. Hi, Paul. Pardon our dust with the alpha. There are aspects of the build that are more or less finished, obviously. UI, lobby, lighting, and content is one of them. Obviously, those marketing renders look incredible, and we're excited to close that gap. The current execution is representative of core functionality and a high-level look. Now, you guys know this. I hate corporate speak.
Like, the way I see it, if it's out in the public, you are happy for the public to see it, and the public is going to judge it based on what you have deemed acceptable for them to check out. It's that simple. That's all corpo speak. That's all garbage. That's all PR. That's all company talk. At the end of the day, if I'm showing you something, if I'm showing you a product, that product I've deemed acceptable for your viewing. I haven't added any caveats. Adding caveats later just makes it look way worse. Like, it's so bad when someone who works for the company has to resort to corpo speak, because at that point you know that what the OP is actually saying is true. The moment they go into a full-on corpo defense, that's it. You know that either OP is on point or so close to being on point that they don't know how to give a proper response to it.
But this to me does kind of signal in a way that I just feel like this game feels very raw. Obviously, we have a couple months from launch. We're probably going to have multiple phases of another closed beta, another open beta, and then the game itself coming out. But I almost feel like they need to do more to try to win over casual fans. In this era of live service content, this game is clearly costing at very least $100 million. They're trying to make this the next big thing, right? And I feel like we're at a point where 7,000 concurrent players is just not going to cut it. I just feel like, in general...
Again, that is so misleading, because we don't know how many codes were given.
Something about this is still feeling like Concord 2. Maybe when I play it, it'll completely change my mind. I did apply for the alpha. I hope I get into the alpha, but from everything I've seen so far, even from high-level streamers to Destiny fans to people in the middle, it feels like everybody is like, this may be good someday, but it sure ain't worth playing today. And that's not what you want to be hearing about the first vertical slice of your big game. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts.
Well, it looks like the general consensus for Marathon is that the game genuinely doesn't know what it wants to be. We don't really know the access numbers, so Steam charts are pointless to look at. But ultimately, the game just doesn't know what it wants to be. And if it can't excel at something, it's going to flop hard. But I do believe that the game is aiming and engineering itself more to console than PC. And who knows? Maybe they might find a whole new, segment on consoles that love this genre. But for now, I think it's a massive uphill fight for Bungie, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they overcome it. Oh yeah, Chili. Borderlands is quaking in their boots when it comes to going head to head with Marathon. Definitely, 100%, 10 out of 10. But chat, that's going to be the end of the stream, man. I am getting very tired, as you probably saw me listening to this guy talking nonsense for ages, making stuff up and trying to sound intelligent when all the stuff that he was looking at was so circumstantial that it wasn't even worth talking about. But I've enjoyed the stream. I think Chili is going to not be here on Thursday. So, Chili, are you going to be here on Thursday? Yeah, the heat is really bad at the moment. It's affecting me quite a bit. But I don't think Chili is going to be here on Thursday. I will not be here. Okay, so I will check to see what's going on tomorrow and make a judgment call. And we'll either be over at Twitch if I'm playing a game, because, like I said, playing games here on YouTube hurts it really badly, or we'll just call off the stream entirely. But otherwise, I'll keep you posted. Keep an eye out on my Discord, in the community tab on my YouTube channel, or on social media. All the links in the description below. And I will see you all next time. Either way, someone left the stable door open. They absolutely did. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, folks, and remain legend. Have a good one. And I don't know why this mic keeps turning down, so I'm going to fix it in a minute. Bye.